Hello and welcome to Bobbin's Minecraft Let's Play featuring the Hoarder's Delight mod pack by Nicole VW. I'm Bobbin and you're watching episode 13. Let's start today's episode by checking out quests. On the main page here we can see that 3 quests now have unclaimed rewards. One of them is Taste the Rainbow, which is now completed. I've made 100,000 chocolate sprinkles cakes, or spinkles cakes if you prefer, and I'm ready to turn that in. So let's go ahead and claim that one. On this page, the other quests that are in progress, really there's only the soda pop quest. It is now progressing as quickly as sugar comes in because the sugar that was previously going to the cake quest is now going to the soda pop quest. The next 2 quests that have been completed are Holidays, which I believe was completed in the last episode, and House, which is where all those bricks were going. The place where all the bricks are now going is this location called Potteries and Stuff, which is making clay pots, or flower pots. The flower pots are being made from the bricks, and we'll continue to do the bricks until they're done. I think at that point I'm done with bricks, but I will still have a use for clay, so I'll probably stop firing the clay. Of these quests and hoarding blocks, I believe the one I'm going to go ahead and turn in today is House. Redstone is very useful. 127 blocks of it is a drop in the bucket, but I'll go ahead and claim it. So that's going to be all the quests that I turn in today. Let's look at what else is in progress. Nothing in hoarding energy, nothing directly in hoarding flowers. Hoarding stuff is still doing diorite walls. That's at 35%. It just happens as diorite gets dug up. And in Are You Out of Your Mind, nothing is really in progress here. I guess you could say some of it's in progress, but nothing's really making any progress except for cobblestone, which is now at 2%. Yay! We're a 50th of the way done with cobblestone. Looking at the quests that I'm going to be working on next and visiting some of these machines, you'll notice that the cola machine is running. That's because of the sugar coming through. The other machine we set up last time was this one making the diluted mana pools. It looks like there's about, what is that, 26,100 or so left to go. Over here I've got another machine set up, but I have not activated the quest on it. It is entirely set up. It's a very simple apparatus, so I didn't decide to do it on camera. This one is making pina coladas because I did finish growing all of my coconuts and pineapples. So when I fire this machine up, it will actually operate as quickly as the stuff can be pumped across the network. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll pick hoarding food, I'll pick rain, I'll select task, and this machine has the usual redstone setup, so it will automatically come on as soon as the quest is assigned. So there we go. And we are rapidly making pina coladas. That will probably be done by the next episode without any issues at all. That's where I'm making stone hoes and axes, clay blocks. Chocolate sprinkles cake is done, so I can do something else with all of this apparatus. I'm not sure what yet. There will be something. It may not be complicated enough for Meat Feast pizzas. That's where the diorite walls are being made. There's the phyto grow for the agriculture, and there's the canvas. Okay, let's go look at the agriculture setup, because one of the things that I want to talk about is progress on that particular subject. Alright, I never showed this third row of phytogenic insulators when I set them up. As you may recall, the phytogenic insulator works like a crop field, except that it's all in a block. It consumes phytogrow and some sort of seed to produce 2 outputs, one of which is the finished crop, and the other one of which is a seed, sometimes 2 seeds, so the number of seeds gradually increases. This one is not running at full power, but you'll notice that it's still running pretty fast. This is actually a fully upgraded resonant phytogenic insulator. It's got all 3 speed upgrades in it. And the reason it's not at full power is because I'm not producing enough power to run everything in my base right now. These are hogs. Each one of these resonant phytogenic insulators with all of the upgrades is consuming the power output, the full power output of 5 dynamos. So right here you're looking at 9 machines, so 45 dynamos out of my 120 are just running the 9 machines directly in front of me. Or would be if I had full power, because I don't. So in reality, there's something less than that going here, and I really need to increase my power. 120 dynamos is not enough, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. The problem is, I started pumping the lava out of the nether in the last episode, as you may recall. I've had to move the pump like 4 times now as it exhausted the lava in its local area. So I have to set up some sort of longer term lava production solution to run those off of lava, or some totally different energy setup. I am considering at this point setting up a power plant just in the nether that produces all the power that's required by the base, and that can just be huge and devoted to power. If I do that, it will probably do more than just lava as power. You can set up a tree farm in the nether. I may do that, so some of it will be wood from, or power from wood and charcoal. That might be an option, but I obviously need to increase my power because these are not going as fast as they could, and I'd love to have more of these machines. These 2 rows are the original 2 rows that I had in there. They have not been upgraded. They're still running the basic insulators. This one is doing broccoli at this point. Here we've got spice leaf still. This one is still producing the same spice leaf that it was before. I need a lot of those. Here I've got leeks. This was growing onions. This one's actually producing wheat. And these 3 blocks probably produce substantially more wheat than my 2 full-size MFR wheat fields. These are a very productive way to go if you've got the power. And this one's producing strawberries. So let's go down and take a look at what we got in the stockpile here. Looks like I've got 82,000 strawberries, so I'll be ready to start something with strawberries pretty soon. Pineapple seeds are not being produced anymore because I grew all the pineapples and I started. I do have a use for the seeds though. These seeds can't be used for the Botania petal apothecary, but they can be used to generate power using the Mine Factory Reloaded block that takes organic stuff and processes it into fuel. Anyway, so I am saving the seeds right now. I've got pineapple seeds, I've got onion seeds, I've got corn seeds. I will eventually have plenty of spice leaf seeds. They're not in the warehouse right now. I do have them upstairs still. So those are coming along nicely. Bone meal I've only got 17,000 of right now, so I'm not quite ready to start another fruit crop. I've been making a lot of glass. Sand is actually up. I've got 300,000 sand and it's going up pretty fast. I made a change in the way that I'm handling sand and gravel and dust. These are igneous extruders, and these used to have a row of pulverizers next to them that was taking the cobblestone and pulverizing it into gravel with a small amount of sand as a secondary output. I specifically chose to go that route rather than the sag mill because the sag mill directly produces sand as the primary and gravel as the secondary. At that time, I wanted more gravel than sand. Now it's reversed. I actually want more sand than gravel. So I went ahead and removed these and changed out a row of pulverizers here that was making sand from gravel to just one that's making sand and gravel both directly from cobblestone. These are upgraded with octadic capacitors, so they're sucking up a lot of energy and working rather quickly. I'm don't know that they actually consume any more power than all the machines I had before. It's only 6 machines now, whereas before I think there were probably a total of about 12 machines there. But that's what's going on there, and I'm actually getting more product than I was before. I did have to set up another machine. You may have seen it briefly. I didn't mention it, so it probably didn't catch your eye. Here where we're making clay blocks, I did set up a pulverizer that's taking sand and producing dust to feed directly in here, because otherwise I would have no dust production at this point. The other machines that are up here, I know I've shown the induction smelters before. These are redstone furnaces that are specifically devoted to creating glass from sand and charcoal from birchwood. Notice that they are pulling from the pink, which is the warehouse. This is converting materials that are already in the warehouse into other materials that are being stockpiled in the warehouse, with the goal of getting more sand and charcoal while not entirely exhausting the supply of sand and wood, and that's been pretty successful so far. One thing I was asked to do by a viewer was to talk a little bit about the cocoa farm with Mine Factory Reloaded. It's actually pretty simple. Just like a wheat farm in Mine Factory Reloaded, you need a planter one level below the dirt level. So here's the dirt level, we're looking at the bottom of it, and here's the planter on the level below. Like the wheat farm, the planter is in the center, and it's connected up with conduits, and you can see that we've got all sorts of cocoa beans in there. One thing you could do if you didn't want so many cocoa beans to be stored in here would be to like fill the rest of it up with something that doesn't get planted, like sticks or something. I didn't bother doing that. It's not really necessary. Also, like a wheat farm, one level above the dirt level, on the edge of the field, you're going to have another machine. However, unlike the wheat farm, it's not a harvester, it's a fruit picker. The fruit picker does not generate sludge. It'll have to have the same upgrade that you've got in the planter, unless you're wasting space or something. I'm using emerald in both of them to make it a 25 by 25 field. Then, on top of the dirt level, the cocoa is not planted on the soil. The cocoa has to grow on jungle wood blocks. And so what you will have to do is lay out some jungle wood blocks here. And if you just lay out these blocks here, the planter will plant on them and the fruit picker will harvest them. You cannot use a harvester on this field because the harvester will go ahead and pick up all the jungle wood blocks, and you obviously don't want that. Then your cocoa wouldn't plant. So that means probably you're not going to be sharing this field with any other crop. Maybe you don't want one quite this big. Cocoa is very productive. This is a big field. This is producing all the cocoa I need, and I've got a massive stockpile accumulated now, more than 100,000, so I won't be short on the next recipe that I put together to fulfill a quest that uses cocoa. One thing you may notice about the particular pattern on these is that they are in kind of a staggered pattern. They're not all in neat rows. You can certainly put them in any pattern you like. The particular pattern I've got has these a knight's move away from one another. And when I say a knight's move, I mean like the move of a chess knight. Basically, we're going 2 up and 1 over. In this case, I'm going 2 up and then 1 over to the left. 1 over to the right is also valid, but you can't mix them because they're really 2 different patterns. And if you lay them out in this particular pattern, you will notice right here, when I look straight down, for example, that all 4 of the squares of dirt between them are filled up with cocoa planted. This is actually the pattern that uses the least amount of space for the wood and still covers everything. It doesn't quite cover everything right at the edge. There are a few blocks that are unreachable at the edge. That's a relatively small disadvantage, especially on a field this size. So that is something to be aware of if you want to maximize the amount of cocoa that you can get from your field. The same pattern, incidentally, is used in sugarcane farming for laying out the water. So if you use this knight's move pattern for your sugarcane, you will maximize the amount of space that is dirt or sand or whatever medium you're using for growing your sugarcane in, and minimize the water space. One disadvantage of using this for your water space is that it can take an awful long time to fill up each of these individual squares with a bucket. You don't actually have to do it with a bucket. If we go over here to the Botania area, there is an item from Botania that will help a great deal with that, called the Rod of the Seas. If you have a Rod of the Seas and a mana tablet with some mana in it, you can use this Rod of Seas. You can just click it on the ground to create a block of water. So that's all you got to do with it. And with that, you can actually take and fill up that field very quickly. One final thing I'm going to mention is that I did go ahead and create the Router Reborn pickaxe, or RR pickaxe. I hadn't really created it because I haven't used this particular tool before, and the other one was satisfactory. This one uses RF to recharge, so I also have this resonant flux capacitor here. I've actually got two resonant flux capacitors. One of them is sitting in a charger. Anyway, it's a nice pickaxe. It'll dig out your choice of a 3x3 or 5x5 area in addition to 1x1. You have haste while you're wearing it, or something to that effect. You can move faster. So that's pretty much that. I also need to check the reward bag since I didn't check that earlier. So we got blocks of diamond, iron, gold, and emerald. That's nice, especially the diamond. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I do appreciate you watching, so I will see you next time.